The 5 most dangerous men in captivity. The world can be a daunting place with some truly unsettling individuals who've committed unspeakable acts, resulting in the loss of numerous lives. While it's commonly thought that prison is where criminal activities come to an end, it can sometimes be the place where some individuals begin their criminal journeys, and it can pose as a perilous environment for unsuspecting inmates. In this video, we will explore the top 5 most menacing individuals held in captivity worldwide. Jason Barnum, known as the Eyeball. Jason Barnum is widely recognized as one of the most dangerous inmates globally, and his very appearance can send chills down your spine. Barnum tattooed his right eye black and even inked an eyeball on his forehead, giving him a particularly menacing visage. His face is adorned with macabre imagery featuring skulls and skeletons, and his lips bear the likeness of skeletal teeth. Barnum boasts an extensive criminal history dating back to 1993 when he was just 17 years old, revealing that the Eyeball Man delved into the world of crime at a very young age. Court records indicate that he had multiple encounters with the law, facing burglary charges in 1994, 2000, and 2005. He was no stranger to prison walls, having only been released in 2010. In 2012, just 2 years after his release, Barnum made headlines when he engaged in a confrontation with police officers at a motel in Alaska, culminating in gunfire. Prior to this face-off with the authorities, Barnum had been involved in a series of burglaries in Alaska, stealing cars and breaking into people's homes, even when occupants were present. These criminal activities were believed to be driven by his addiction to heroin. During the encounter with the police, Barnum was staying at the Merrifield Inn, and officers noticed a vehicle associated with recent burglaries. When they entered Barnum's room, he opened fire on them from the bathroom where he was hiding. In the ensuing exchange of gunfire, Barnum was hit in the right arm but survived. He also managed to strike one of the deputies. However, the bullet luckily slipped down the deputy's vest. The injured deputy returned to duty after receiving stitches. Authorities suspect that Barnum was under the influence of intoxicants at the time of the shooting. Barnum was subsequently arrested and faced charges of attempted murder, first-degree burglary, and third-degree weapon misconduct. During one of his court hearings, he acknowledged that his perilous lifestyle had led him into a life of crime. In front of the Anchorage Superior Court, the Eyeball Man admitted to vehicle theft, burglary, and attempted murder, resulting in a 22-year prison sentence. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, widely recognized as the former leader of the Sinaloa Cartel, a criminal organization deemed by the United States to be the largest and most potent drug trafficking syndicate in the world. El Chapo's notoriety stemmed from his remarkable capacity to simultaneously bribe high-ranking public officials, strategically combat rival gangs, and devise intensive methods to push his illicit substances into the market, thereby earning him a legendary status in the world of crime. El Chapo's leadership of the Sinaloa Cartel ushered in a new era for cartels. Under his guidance, the Sinaloa Cartel dominated the cocaine trade and emerged as a significant player in the heroin market. Before his arrest in February 2016, El Chapo held the distinction of being one of the world's most sought-after fugitive and was considered one of the globe's most prominent drug traffickers. He wielded unparalleled influence in the global cocaine market and served as a major distributor for various drugs, including heroin, methamphetamine, and marijuana. Consequently, El Chapo accumulated immense wealth, even earning a spot on Forbes' 2009 list of billionaires. His illicit funds were laundered through a sophisticated money laundering system, which contributed to his recognition. In the years leading up to his sentencing in 2019, El Chapo had orchestrated a series of daring prison escapes. In 2001, he famously broke free from the Puente Grande maximum security prison in Mexico, reportedly hiding inside a car filled with soiled clothes. It is believed that El Chapo had cultivated the assistance of Damaso Lopez, a high-ranking prison official who later became one of his associates. Over the subsequent 15 years, Lopez, who went on to work for the Sinaloa cartel, played a pivotal role in facilitating El Chapo Guzman's multiple prison escapes. El Chapo were recaptured in 2014 and imprisoned at the Altiplano prison. However, in 2015, he managed to escape from his cell through an underground tunnel, meeting a waiting driver and motorcycle on the other side. His escape endeavors culminated when he was arrested in 2016 and subsequently extradited to the United States in 2017 to face drug trafficking charges. In a federal court in Brooklyn, El Chapo was convicted of drug trafficking and sentenced to life imprisonment. He is now incarcerated for life at ADX Florence, a supermax prison in Colorado, widely recognized as the most secure prison in the United States. El Chapo is held in solitary confinement with no access to natural light and spends 23 hours a day in isolation. David Berkowitz, more commonly known as the Son of Sam, is a notorious serial killer who spread fear throughout New York City in the 1970s. Berkowitz delved into a life of crime in the mid-1970s, commencing his criminal activities with a knife before progressing to the use of a handgun to end the lives of his victims. Prior to his descent into criminality, Berkowitz had served honorably in the U.S. Army. However, he went rogue, embarking on a spree of violent offenses. During his reign of terror, the Son of Sam focused his deadly attention on young women, predominantly impacting communities such as the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens. He displayed a distinct preference for targeting white women with long dark hair. Beyond his attraction to a specific type of victim, a clear pattern emerged in his killing spree. Most of his victims met their tragic end while seated alongside their boyfriends in parked cars. According to reports, Berkowitz took particular pleasure in this activity and would even return to the scenes of his crimes. In the midst of his menacing campaign, Berkowitz successfully evaded what turned out to be an extensive police manhunt. He periodically taunted law enforcement by sending letters promising further murders. To unmask the enigmatic serial killer, the police embarked on a meticulous effort, tracking down every legal owner of a .44 caliber Bulldog revolver. They even set traps posing as couples in parks, in hopes of luring Berkowitz into their grasp. In July 1977, Berkowitz shot two female acquaintances who were discussing their evening at a nightclub. Unlike his prior victims, these women did not possess long dark hair, and they were not a couple. Numerous witnesses observed the crime scene, and as Berkowitz departed, the witnesses provided his description to the police. Astonishingly, the police initiated regarding him as a witness rather than a suspect. Approximately a month later, authorities searched his car, where they discovered a rifle, a duffel bag containing ammunition, maps of the crime scenes, and a letter from the Son of Sam that had yet to be posted. However, they were unable to enter his residence for his arrest without a warrant. They patiently awaited the necessary authorization to search his apartment so that the evidence they had gathered could be admitted in court. When he was ultimately apprehended, the criminal allegedly commented to the police, "Well, you got me. How come it took you so long?" Thomas Silverstein is often considered one of the most dangerous inmates in America due to his history of violence, which includes the killing of two fellow inmates and at least one prison guard. His criminal journey began just 6 years after he was sentenced to jail for armed robbery. Silverstein entered the world of violent crime at an early age, finding himself incarcerated at San Quentin Prison in California by the age of 19. Serving time for armed robbery, he was released on parole 4 years later, but soon found himself arrested again, this time alongside his father and cousin for their involvement in 3 armed robberies in 1977. As a result, he was sentenced to 15 years in the United States Penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas. During his time at this correctional facility, Silverstein became associated with the Aryan Brotherhood, a well-organized criminal syndicate with a significant presence both inside and outside prison walls in the United States. According to reports, Silverstein committed the murder of Danny Atwell, a fellow inmate who had refused to participate in heroin smuggling on behalf of the gang. This led to Silverstein's conviction for Danny's death and a life sentence at the United States Penitentiary in Marion, Illinois. At that time, Marion Prison was renowned for its high security status. In a subsequent turn of events, Silverstein was involved in another inmate's death, that of Raymond Cadillac Smith, who belonged to the DC Black Prison Gang. This act earned him yet another life sentences in 1983, while serving his life sentences for murdering an inmate. Silverstein killed a correctional officer named Merle Klutz. After leaving the shower area, Silverstein managed to align with Randy Gomez, another member of the Aryan Brotherhood gang. Gomez provided Silverstein with a homemade key to unlock his handcuffs and handed him a prison-made knife, which he used to fatally stab the correctional officer a total of 20 times. Following the murder of Klutz, Silverstein was placed under a strict no-contact order and placed in solitary confinement. His series of killings with various prison facilities across the United States played a significant role in influencing the design and development of ADX Florence, a supermax prison where he was incarcerated until his death in 2019. Throughout his confinement, he spent 36 years in solitary isolation. Michael Campbell, often branded as one of the world's most terrifying criminals, is notorious for his menacing full head tattoos. These tattoos include a pentagram on his forehead, Celtic knots on his cheeks, and a pitbull image on his throat, contributing to his frightful appearance. Campbell has a track record of assaulting women and children, particularly females, making him a concern in areas where children might be present. As mandated by the law in 2011, Campbell faced legal trouble when he was arrested for being found within 500 feet of a playground, violating legal restrictions. His criminal history dates back to 1995, when he was convicted of a heinous incident in Denver, Colorado. At that time, Campbell was only 20 years old and faced accusations of attempting unspeakable acts on a 14-year-old girl. Over the years, he continued to engage in criminal activities. In 2021, Campbell made headlines for an incident in Missouri where he attempted to intrude upon a woman while he was sleeping next to her boyfriend. According to the victim's account, Campbell pulled down the woman's underwear as she slept beside her partner. Fortunately, the boyfriend woke up in time to chase Campbell away. Campbell fled the property on a bicycle. Additionally, there were reports of Campbell's assaulting neighbors with machetes and axes. On one occasion, a neighborhood confronted him for littering the streets, and Campbell reacted by striking the neighbor with a shovel and punching him. That same evening, a victim contacted the police, resulting in Campbell's attacking him with a metal bar. Currently, Campbell is incarcerated at the Greene County Jail and is seeking a sentence reduction. That concludes our discussion on the 5 most dangerous men in captivity. Please remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and activating the notification bell to stay updated with our upcoming thrilling and exciting videos.